Hey everyone, it's me again, and I've got half my face done. Why is this, you ask? Well, funny you should mention it. My sister is actually getting married! Yay! She's getting married in October, and I'm gonna be coming to the States to go to the wedding, and she has requested that I do a bridal makeup tutorial for you guys today. So this is one option I decided to design as a possibility for her bridal makeup. Now, the theme that she was going for was blushing bride, so very innocent, sweet, simple, but not too young, because my sister's already pretty young looking in the face. We don't want her looking like 12, okay? So this is what we'll be doing today, on this side of my face, not this side. Alright, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started, because it's going to be a pretty long tutorial. First things first, I'm going to prime my eyes. I've been using the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, the anti-aging version, because I really like this primer. You can feel it firming your skin up, it's crazy. So I'm going to do this above and underneath my eye. No wrong way to do this step. Easy, right? Cool. Okay, that's about the only easy thing we're going to do in this tutorial. I'm kidding. I'm going to grab my highlighter shade. This is my favorite highlighter, like, of all time. Just discovered it this month. It's the Balm's Merry Luminizer, and it looks like that. Gorgeous golden highlight. Great for people with Eastern European undertones. Hello. So we're going to take a little bit, tap it off, and I've got a mirror up here. That's why I keep staring off into space, thinking about stuff. And we're just gonna take that from the inner corner just over like the first third of your eyelid. After all, through all that stressful wedding planning, we don't want to look like, you know, we haven't been sleeping. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight my brow. This is the Milani Brow and Eye Highlighters in Matte Beige High Glow. Looks like that. I'm gonna be using the matte beige side. Right underneath my eyebrow. Get it in your brow hairs too, why not? That is all highlighted out. Excellent. And while we're at it, let's do our brows. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. eyebrow kit. Looks like that. Y'all know what this thing is. I've used it in tons of videos before, and I'm just gonna use that waxy part, you know, the part that I've hit pan big time on. Mix a little of the wax with a little of the powder, and I'm just gonna start by going underneath my eyebrow and shaping the underneath of the brow the way I want it. And then you just kind of fill in and go up from there. Now, the eyeshadow. What everyone has been waiting so long for. First, I'm going to use my brand shiny new Lorac Pro 2 palette. I love this thing so far. Like, for real. The shadows are ridiculously pigmented. They're ridiculously beautiful. And I'm gonna go ahead and take the shade Rosé. That's how it's pronounced, ladies, not rose, rosé. It's a rose gold color. There's an accent over that E. It irks me when people don't pronounce stuff right. I'm gonna take rosé and this little flat shader brush, and I'm just gonna put rosé over the center of my eyelid. And we're gonna kind of blend that in with the highlight shade. I'm obsessed. See what I'm doing? Am I out of frame right now? No, I'm not, because I'm a boss. Well, we're gonna use the same brush, why not? And flip it over and take the shade Mocha. That's right next door to Rosé right there. Skinny that into the outer V. And we're gonna blend it later, so don't stress out too much about this part. Now at this point, I kind of decided that I wanted a little bit more of a transition between the lid shade and the outer corner. So this is kind of optional. I mean, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I decided to go ahead and do it because I had the palette, and why not? I'm pulling out the Lorac Unzipped palette. Looks like that. Boom. Gorgeous colors. And I'm going to go ahead and take Unbelievable, which is right there, that dark pink shade. Right mirror. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on the last third of my lid over that Mocha color a little bit. A little bit more of a transition from one shade to the next. And then I'm going to take that Unbelievable shade, which really is unbelievable, it's gorgeous, and I'm going to work it into the crease a little bit, just kind of drawing a line with the pointy, you know, beveled end of my brush and drawing a line down through. So I'm going to add one more color just, you know, for funsies, because there's a lot of shimmer in this look, and you can't have just shimmery eyeshadow, especially on your wedding day. You want to look radiant, but you don't want to look like, traffic light eyeballs. So I'm going to go back into Lorac Pro 2, and I'm going to use Nectar, which is that peachy pinky color right there. Beautiful, beautiful matte crease definer shade. And I'm just going to tap off the excess of my brush, that's the sound you're hearing, and I'm going to work it into the socket. Can't have all shimmery eyeshadows. Now that our crease is nice and defined, we're going to do more blending, yay! So I'm going to take a little shader brush, I mean you can use whatever you want really, and I'm going to take a color that is really close to my natural skin tone. In this particular case I'm using this light shade right here from the Kat Von D Ladybird palette. It's called Vespertine. And this is like my perfect brow highlight shade. It's my perfect blending shade. It's really close to my skin color. It might just be a hair lighter. And then I'm just going to take that right under the brow bone first. And I'm just going to use this to fix... What's she doing? I'm going to use this to fix the shape of my eye. So if you have anything that kind of strayed, you know, out into the abyss, you can fix it and you can blend a little bit more, because we want this look to be nice and natural and blended out and blown out and just completely, you know, barely there. So now liner. For my liner, I decided to use the Maybelline Master Drama by Eye Studio little pencil retractable eyeliner, doodad, technical term, and this is in bold brown. Now bold brown is a dark, deep sable color, and this is where we're gonna bring in a little rebellion. This is where we're gonna bring in a little sexiness to this bridal look. Like, oh my god, my sister sent me a picture of her dress, and her dress is gorgeous, but the model did not look very good in the dress, for one, and she had this really browned out, blacked out smoky eye, and that's not what you're gonna wear on your wedding day. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go as close to the lash line as possible, making the line thicker toward the outer edge. Oh. I suck at eyeliner, by the way, guys. So what I'm doing here, why I'm doing like the monkey dance, is if you lift up your eyebrow a little bit, it'll expose your upper lash line so you can see all the spots you missed. And again, you see what I'm doing here? You're going bigger on the outside, just a little bit thicker toward the outside, and gradually getting thinner as you go in. That actually didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would. Now we're gonna work on the lower lash line. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this liner just in the very, very, very outer corner waterline. And that's just gonna, we're creating a shadow is what we're doing there. So we're bringing the focus inward toward the eyeball. I'm gonna go ahead and go back in with Rosé out of the Lorac Pro 2 palette. And if you push right there, that'll pop your waterline out. And so I'm gonna push right there and just kind of take this rosé shade right on the inner part of the lash line, sort of between that dark brown and the highlight. Now we're gonna take Mocha again, right there, and we're gonna put that between the dark brown and the rosé color. And this is just gonna create a transition. See things starting to come together now. Come together right now on my face. You will want to use a waterproof mascara, because chances are if you're the blushing bride, you're gonna be crying a little bit, just kind of accept that. I don't have any waterproof mascaras. Most of their formulas are too wet for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the Ico Skinny Brush mascara. I love this stuff, you guys. There's the brush. The wand looks kind of wonky, but it really gets in between your lashes to help separate them. You can use whatever mascara works for you for this step. Most people would just put mascara on their lower lashes. Usually that ends up kind of smudging on me, so what I do is while the mascara is still wet, I blink a bunch of times. Oh. And that usually presses the perfect amount of mascara onto my lower lashes. Pro tip. Face is actually pretty simple for this one. Pretty straightforward. Everything's just kind of more exaggerated than it would normally be because, well, it's a wedding. You're gonna have a bunch of photography there. I'm gonna take my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser Concealer, and I'm gonna take that concealer and just plant the pigment under my eye. Don't forget to get up into this part too, because that casts a shadow over your eyelid. And I'm just gonna put it anywhere where I think I need concealer. I'm just blending this out with the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. Yeah, that's what this is. This is perfect for blending out concealer, y'all. It's nice and densely packed, so it gives you a lot of room to work. You can use this to kind of fix your eyeshadow shape too. If it's still not where you want it to be, just buff some concealer over it and you're done. Really give yourself time to do this. Like, you should be giving yourself a solid couple hours to do this makeup just so you can really pay attention to detail and cover up every little spot and spackle that you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and set the concealer with this Coty Airspun powder for the face, and it's a naturally neutral, but you can use translucent powder, you can use whatever works for you really. Putting powder on before your foundation also helps your foundation stay longer. Pro tip. So the foundation I'm going to use today, ideally you would use a very long wearing foundation, but whatever you do, no SPF. Make sure your foundation does not have SPF in it. Now normally this is like, what? Why would you not have SPF in your foundation? The ingredients that create sunscreen, usually it ends up being aluminum dioxide, have light reflecting properties, so they can actually cause a white flashback when using flash photography, and that's just bad news bears. So I like to play it safe, wear something long wearing without any sunscreen in it, as much pigment as possible. In this particular case, I'm using one of my favorites, which is a Japanese BB cream that I got at a home goods store, go figure. Japanese people know their shit when it comes to BB cream. This is like one of the best I have ever used. And this is just to even out my complexion. So I'm gonna squirt a bunch onto my face. Pow. There you go. Looks pretty silly, right? I'm gonna buff it out with the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I love this for putting on BB cream or any other kind of thick mousse-like foundation. It's just freaking perfect. It's so densely packed, and it's perfect for buffing foundation or BB cream into your skin. Don't forget the places you normally wouldn't put foundation or BB cream, like your ear, because you do not want foundation lines. Blend it into your hairline too. The whole shebang. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick dusting of powder on top of it, not that much, little tiny bit. And this is just to set the BB cream. Contour. Now contour, you're gonna go a little bit harder than you normally would, just because again, you're gonna be photographed, and photographs tend to wash people out, especially when they're wearing a lot of makeup. So I'm gonna use my usual Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer, the original one. The one for fair skin is actually too light for me, but I'm just gonna tap my brush in there, go right above your cheekbone. If you can't find your cheekbone, just roll your brush, and wherever your brush falls, that's where your cheekbone is. So, gonna drop that and put some right by the corner of my eye too, just because that's what makes my face look best. I don't know. It's just what I normally do. And you're gonna blend it up, not down. You don't want to look like you have a 5 o'clock shadow. And Mary, you'll probably need to do some contour too. I'm just saying. And then you're gonna blend the crap out of it. Now, this looks like a lot of contour, and it is, but when you see the wedding photos, it's not gonna look like nearly as much. Blush. The blush I'm gonna go ahead with, I'm gonna use a e.l.f. small tapered brush. This is my favorite brush for blush. And normally I would go with Milani's Luminoso for this time of year, but my sister's getting married in October, which is gonna be fall time, so I want to have a deeper, richer blush. And after all, it's a blushing bride makeup tutorial. The blush is one of the most important parts of this tutorial. So I'm using a Milani Baked blush in Rose D'Oro. Look at how beautiful that color is. So I'm just gonna tap that in here. Not to mention my sister loves everything Italy, and this one's, you know, these blushes have Italian names. So, and we're just gonna put this directly on the cheekbone, back and forth, and blending outward. We're not gonna put it on the apples of the cheeks. That is one mistake I see a lot of people making that really irks me, is when they put the blush right on the apple of the cheek, like they smile, and then they put it right there. For one, I guess if you want to look like a China doll or a baby doll, that works fine. But if you want to look sophisticated, like not like a child, you really want to focus on lifting your features and pushing them backward. So you want to keep this part of your face bare of any pigment, blush and contour wise. So that's done. See that nice, deep, rich pink color? It's gonna give you just a little bit of flush to your face without, like, you know, turning your face beet red. So highlight, face highlight, we're gonna be really careful with this. That's why I decided to use an e.l.f. fan brush. This is really tiny. It doesn't have a whole lot of hairs to it. It's very loose, and that's exactly what we want. We're gonna take the Mary Luminizer that we used earlier, and we're gonna highlight. Just the tops of the cheekbones, the usual spots, but we're not gonna put too much highlight on because there's gonna be flash photography in this. You don't wanna look sweaty, you wanna look glowing. Get a little of that highlight on the tops of my cheekbones. Remember, you can always add more, but you can't always take away. So just add a little bit at a time and build up layers until you're happy with how it looks. I usually just put a little at the tops of my cheekbones, little on my chin, because I really don't have a chin to speak of, so we want that chin to stick out, a little on the very end of my nose to make it look a little pointier, and a little bit with my finger on my Cupid's bow. It's time for lips. Now, for lip makeup for a wedding, you're gonna be kissing your husband-to-be, so you do not want something that's too colorful, you do not want something that transfers very easily, and you're not gonna feel like touching up over and over and over again throughout the night, so you're gonna want something that's gonna stick and stay put. Now, I usually choose nudes for this because nudes are just the perfect thing to accent your lip. You're not going to leave a bunch of color smeared all over your husband's face, and at the same time you still get that little bit of like I'm done up kind of look, and as it fades throughout the night it doesn't really fade unnaturally, if that makes sense, so it still looks like you have lipstick on. I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Mega Last Lipstick in Bridal. This is my perfect nude. This shade right here. Mary, I don't know if your lips are the same tone as mine are, but if they are, get this color. This is like the perfect nude for me. It provides just a little bit of shine, just to kind of fill up your lips a little bit. So I'm gonna put this on, because I can't talk while I'm putting this on. Gorgeous, you can throw some gloss on top if you want, but I usually wouldn't when it comes to a wedding, because this lipstick has a decent amount of satin-like sheen to it as it is, and a lip gloss you're just going to end up continually having to reapply over the course of the evening, and you don't want to have to worry about that. Another pro tip, take your finger, put it in your mouth. Just like that, it's going to get rid of all of the lipstick that would normally transfer onto your teeth. And last, but certainly not least, pro tip, setting spray. Use it. Use setting spray because it is going to help keep your makeup prim and proper and fresh all night long, and if you have a little bit of powderiness, a little bit of cakiness going on, a little bit of setting spray will just kind of bring your skin back to life. This is Urban Decay's All Nighter. I love this stuff because it makes my makeup last forever. But you want to hold it at least a foot away from your face, because these kinds of setting sprays have glycerin in them, and if you spray it too close to your face, it'll get sticky and it'll never completely set. So just hold it about a foot away from your face. And let it just kind of fall onto your face in a very even layer and fan it dry. And girlfriend, you are ready. Here is the finished look, all nice and close up. I really love how this came out, you guys. It's perfectly natural, it's youthful without being too young. You know, I don't look like I'm 12 years old. I look like a grown woman who's ready to go get herself hitched. I really hope you guys learned something awesome today. I hope you like the look, Mary. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm gonna go edit this video, which is gonna take forever. All right, guys, have a good week, and I will see you in a few days. Bye!